This is the Aston Martin Valhalla and the Valkyrie Spider. In this video, I'm going to be reporting on the stats and figures of both these cars, along with the journey of how Aston Martin got here. Aston Martin's mid-engine supercar program was started back up in 2021, with the near production ready Valhalla making its debut at the Car Week of August 2022. This is Aston's second mid-engine supercar, which is a plug-in hybrid. It's set to go on sale anytime now, being the end of 2022. This hypercar produces 937 brake horsepower and will set you back £580,000 plus tax on top. Taking inspiration from the Valkyrie supercar, Valhalla's body sits below a huge engine, Red Bull designed halo car and above the forthcoming Vantage due by 2025. This is powered by AMG's 4-litre twin-turbocharged V8 with electric motors fitted to both axles. Further cementing its relationship with AMG, Aston Martin's CEO at the time, Tobias, who was leading the project, resigned from Aston Martin of May this year. Still though, a great selection has been made for the flat-plane crank V8, first seen in the GT Black Series of Valhalla. This Aston Martin from just the V8 alone will produce 740 brake horsepower and revving all the way to 7,200 RPM. It's the most advanced and highest performing V8 engine ever fitted to an Aston Martin. A new exhaust system which exits through the engine covers as per of a McLaren 600 LT, and this will allow Aston Martin to tune the sound to their liking. In addition to the AMG sourced V8, the two electric motors and 150 kilowatt 400 volt battery will also form part of the Valhalla's powertrain. Combined, both electric motors produce additional 214 brake horsepower, with driving delivered through a new 8-speed DCT gearbox that makes do without reverse gear, leaving this to the E-motors, as per like the Ferrari SF90. An additional limited slip diff is also fitted to the rear axle. In electric mode, the front axle is responsive for driving with an 80-mile-an-hour maximum possibility and a maximum 9-mile-an-hour range. In other drive modes, the electric power is switched between both front and rear axles, with the percentage varying depending on driving style and demands. For the full 940 brake horsepower, both electric motors need to be combined and sent to their available power to the rear axle along with the full force of the V8, resulting in a claimed 217 mile-an-hour top speed, and 0 to 62 miles an hour taking just 2.5 seconds. Built around a new carbon fibre tube, Aston is aiming for a dry weight of 1,550 kg, with the pushrod front suspension sporting inboard mounted springs and dampers to reduce unsprung mass, completed by a multi-link rear suspension system that uses variable spring rates and anti-sport valve damper units. This will allow the Valhalla to produce an adjustable ride frequency to suit the road or track environment. A track mode will stiffen the chassis and lower the ride height to maximise downforce, which is 600 kg at 150 miles an hour. Electric power steering will also be fitted. Carbon ceramic brakes will be standard fit and will form part of the car's brake-by-wire system, which Aston Martin is working with Michelin to develop a modified component for the Cup 2 tyres. These will be fitted to the 20-inch front tyres and the 21-inch rear tyres. The switch from an Aston Martin designed, developed and built V6 engine to the AMG V8 isn't the only fundamental change the Valhalla has undergone. The original concept car was just that, with no hardpoints for the chassis or set dimensions for the car. The design was never set in stone. The Aston Martin team have been able to create a sharp identity for the Valhalla, resulting in a low slug coupe that bends some traditional Aston Martin design elements such as the grille, with 21st century hypercar essentials, like openings in the front of the top wings that draw air through, out and along the car. There are no aggressive fixed wings. The roof-mounted air intake incorporates in 3 openings, a central one to feed the V8 and 2 on the other side to feed cooling air to the oil coolers for the engine and gearbox, which is smartly integrated and bleeds into the top-mounted exhaust pipes. It's a very refined yet aggressive car, with detail such as the rear lights suitably inspired by the Valkyrie. The Kanugi Zig-style doors allow you to enter a wider and larger cabin than that of the Valkyrie. The Valhalla, having been designed as a usable day-to-day supercar that happens to have the hypercar performance. Although we'll have to take Aston Martin's word for it on this one when it comes to the interior design, as it's yet to be signed off with completion. What you can expect is a detailed Aston Martin designed HMI system, a driving position less extreme than the Valkyrie's F1 knees above your hip style, but one that's still closer to a racer than a DBS. The switch to the AMG V8 engine saves considerable costs and is known effective, and with AMG also working on a hybrid version of this powertrain for its forthcoming GT 4-door coupe. With its $500,000+ price tag, you can be sure that not many of these won't be made, because when it was first released back in August 2021, just shortly after, the new Vanquish got more eyes drawn towards it than this one. However, Aston Martin have unveiled the new open-top Valkyrie Spider, a third variety of its V12 powered hypercar, and the most extreme convertible the brand has produced yet. The rival comes just ahead of its first deliveries of its coupe's counterpart, with the Spider set to hit the road in the second half of 2022. Pricing is yet to be announced and just 85 examples will be produced. Its design remains near identical to the coupe, with a narrow LMP1 inspired cockpit, shared almost wholesome with the coupe. The dramatic teardrop cockpit design and a full-length tunnel either side are also present, ensuring it retains its epic downforce figure. Aston claims peak downforce of over 1,400 kg at 149 miles an hour with track mode engaged. Now you're probably wondering, why am I telling you all this? The reason for that is because this will be a road legal car. To accommodate its new removal roof panel, Aston Martin had to make minor adjustments to the Valkyrie's carbon fibre tube, while also making tweaks to the active aerodynamic and chassis systems to maintain a comparable aero performance to the coupe. The firm claims its tubes required no additional reinforcement, but attachment points for the roof panel were required, with the most notable change being those of the new doors. In ditching the dramatic units of the coupe, the Spider has opted for the forward opening doors, hinging at the windscreen as opposed to the roof. With the roof attached, this change could make getting in and out a bit of a task, but Aston Martin have included additional hinging panels in the hardtop itself to help with this. Performance is identical to the coupe, with Cosworth's 11,000 RPM 6.5 litre naturally aspirated V12 producing 1,000 horsepower at 10,500 RPM alone. This makes it the most powerfully naturally aspirated road car unit produced yet. Paired with the hybrid system, it brings an additional 160 brake horsepower and 207 pound-feet of torque to the total output, resulting in a combined 1,160 brake horsepower and 664 pound-feet of torque. Aston Martin claims it'll exceed 217 miles an hour with no roof attached, and it will still reach over 205 miles an hour with it stowed away. Red Bull's Racing Chief Technical Officer said, "What you see is a simple removable roof panel, but the challenge of remaining true to the Valkyrie concept was anything but. Maintaining the aerodynamic performance with the roof removed was of paramount importance, likewise keeping an unavoidable weight gain to an absolute minimum, whilst maximising enjoyment for the drive." Development of the Spider is already well underway, with the first of the 85 examples to be delivered by the end of this year, 2022. As with the coupe, allocations are expected to be hard to come by, with Aston Martin already confirming that the copied is already oversubscribed.